In a game of D&D, what distinguishes goblins from kobolds, from orcs, from lizard folk? In many campaigns, hardly anything. They're all low-level humanoids who go, "Rah! Stab, stab, stab." Then, if the player characters are above level 2, get wiped out. They're cannon fodder. Only the packaging is different. Yet the simple fact that they have different names tells us there should be differences among them, including differences in behavior. One of the great things about the 5th edition of D&D is that not only the ability scores, but the skills and features of monsters are specified precisely and consistently. Those skills and features give us clues as to how these monsters ought to fight. However, because a dungeon master has to make one decision after another in response to player behavior, and the better the players, the more unpredictable their behavior, it doesn't take long for decision fatigue to set in. It's easy for even an excellent DM, well acquainted with their monsters' stat blocks and lore, to allow combat to devolve into monsters running directly at the PCs and going, "Rah! Stab, stab, stab." The way to avoid this is to make as many of these tactical decisions as possible before the session begins, just as a trained soldier or an accomplished athlete or musician relies on reflexes developed from thousands of hours of training and practice, and just as an animal acts from evolved instinct. A lion doesn't wait until the moment after it first spots a herd of tasty wildebeests to reflect upon how it should go about nabbing one. Soldiers don't whip out their field manuals for the first time when they're already under fire, and a DM shouldn't be contemplating for the first time how bullywugs move and fight when the PCs have just encountered 12 of them. Rather than try to make those decisions on the fly, the DM needs heuristics to follow so that combat can progress smoothly, sensibly, and satisfyingly. That's what I set out to provide in this book. This book is aimed at beginning DMs, especially younger DMs and adult DMs with little or no strategy gaming experience, intermediate DMs who are looking for ways to add more flavor and challenge for their players, advanced DMs who could figure all this out perfectly well on their own but are too busy to put the time into it, and players. Yes, players. I don't see anything wrong with your scoping this book for intel. If your DM is using these tips, it's going to make your characters' lives a little tougher, and I don't want them to get slaughtered. If your PCs know something about the creatures they're up against, they can begin to plan for it, and that's part of the fun of D&D.